So now we need to take a look at what the real property rights are. Obviously, if you own real property, then you own certain rights as well. And that's what we need to talk about. And by the way, I would make sure you know what rights come with real property ownership. Okay. The first right is mineral rights. Let's say I've got a garden in my backyard, which I do. I enjoy eating, so I got a nice garden back there. But as all gardens tend to have weeds, grass and stuff start growing in there. So you got to go in there with your hoe and get the weeds and stuff out the garden. Well, let's say my hoe slipped and went a little bit too deep, and up from the ground comes a bubbling crude. Well, who owns that crude?
You do.
You do.
I do, because I own the mineral rights.
Mm-hmm.
Because you remember, I don't just own the dirt or the grass. I own all the way down to the center of the earth. If there's gold there, there's silver, whatever's there, which is usually just a bunch of rusted metals. Well, I've been able to find on mine, but it's yours because you own the mineral rights. Okay. You also own water rights. Now, let me be clear. The type of water rights we're referring to right now would be for those property owners where their land borders some body of water, or maybe has water that flows through their land. But it either flows through their land or at least their property borders some body of water. That's what we're referring to here. Well, there's two types of water rights, and you make sure you know these as well. The first is what we call riparian rights. Riparian rights belong to those that own property that border a very, like a stream or a small river. Okay. It's not a big river. Okay. In fact, typically what you'll tend to see a lot of times, they'll say, you might call it a river, but it would be considered non-navigable. Where you're not going to be putting a big old boat flying up and down through here. So we're talking about a small river or stream or something like that. So if you border that little river or stream, or it just flows through your land, then you own riparian rights to that water. So I guess the first question we need to address here is, so where does your property line go in relation to the water? And you'll notice if it's riparian rights, it says your property line will go to the center of the water, of the stream or the river, or whatever it is. So you actually own all the way to the center of the stream. Okay. Now I've had people say, well, what if I own the land on both sides of the stream? Well, then you own to the center on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
That'll click here in a minute. You'll get it. But then, so what can I do with the water? Yeah, I got water rights, but so what can I do with the water? Y'all, could I go swimming in the river or stream if I want to?
Sure.
Sure. Yeah. Could I go fishing? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Could I put a pump out there and pump the water out onto my lawn to water the lawn? Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Could I decide to dam it up to make more of a pond-like situation here?
No.
No. There you go. You have rights to the water. That's why they call it riparian rights. You can use the water as long as what you do will not have any negative effect or impact on other property owners downstream.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, if I dammed it up right here up my property line, then that kind of cuts off all the water from everybody else downstream. You can't do that.
Okay.
Can't do it. So you can use the water, but you can't have an impact that would affect other property owners. Okay. That's riparian water rights. But the other type is what we call littoral water rights. And so if I own littoral, that means I own land that borders a large body of water. Like the Mississippi River. That's a big body of water, or even the ocean. Or maybe a big lake, like around the Midlands here, we got Lake Murray. It's a large body of water. Now you're said to own littoral water rights. So now the question here, so where does your property line go in relation to the water if it's littoral water rights? And you should see where your property line actually goes to the mean high water mark. Wherever the mean high water mark is, that's where your property line would go. So now, first of all, what does mean mean?
That is when the
Average.
water is low.
Average. Somebody said it.
Average?
Mean means average.
Okay.
So when they say the mean high water mark, talking about the average, because the water mark's going to fluctuate. It'll come up and then it'll come down. It's going to fluctuate, right? The water level never stays exactly one spot. It will fluctuate. Well, the mean high water mark, or that average, wherever that is, that's where your property line goes to. So the big thing you need to really understand here is, if you own littoral water rights, do you actually own any of the water?
No.
No, because your property line does not go into the water. It goes up to the high water mark. Adversely, if you, again, going back to riparian, now your property line goes to the center of the stream. So you actually own some of that water if it's riparian, but not for littoral. But can you still use the water to go fishing or swimming or whatever? Yeah, as long as you don't have some negative impact on other owners. You still have the rights to use the water. You just don't own the water. Okay? We're all good there. Happy, happy, happy. Then the next thing you should see is something called the Doctrine of Appropriation. Now, I'm going to tell you, that is not something you'll be dealing with, certainly in South Carolina, or quite frankly, probably anywhere around the East Coast. Where this typically applies is on the West Coast, California, areas out there. But they could still ask you about what this is, so you need to understand it. But basically, here's what they're saying. Out west California, for example, rain is not a very common occurrence in certain parts of California, right? So where there might be a river or a stream or something like that, that water, is pretty scarce, especially during times of the year where it kind of dries up almost. Well, when it comes to this doctrine of appropriation, basically what it's saying is whoever owned property bordering this water first, whoever the first property owner was, they get first dibs at whatever water is available. If somebody else bought property, say 2 years after me, but their property also borders this same water hole or river or whatever, obviously they have rights to it. But when it starts getting scarce, I get the water I need first, then they can get any that's left over or use what's left over, and then right on down the line. That's what they call the doctrine of appropriation. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever was there first gets the first right to use it first. And then second, third, fourth, right on down the line. Otherwise, you have everybody fighting over, you're using too much of the water and I need it for this. And other people saying, well, I need it for that. Because quite frankly, there's just not enough for everybody to use year round. So they
Question.
run into those problems. Yes, sir.
Is that a right that you can sell or lease?
Good question. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you, but I don't know why you couldn't.
Mm-hmm. Like to a municipality or something, cities,
Yeah.
they, you know, for, yeah, okay.
Yeah, potentially. Well, I won't tell you, if it's a municipality, then they could just take it from you for that matter.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. In fact, we're going to be talking about that. A little term called eminent domain.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be talking about that here coming up fairly soon. All right, but yeah, that's the doctrine of appropriation. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Good. All right. Still under these real property rights and still talking about water rights, you should see a term called accretion. Y'all, for the most part, we're still dealing with vocabulary if you haven't noticed, but y'all, accretion. Y'all, it says that's the gradual, imperceptible increase in land due to the action of water. So could you actually gain land or in some cases lose land due to the action of water? Absolutely.
Yes.
Yo, that's what accretion is. Again, it's the gradual or imperceptible increase or loss in land due to the action of water. Now, there are different types of accretion. Obviously, we got to be familiar with. The first one is we call alluvion. Alluvion is when you're gaining land due to the action of the water. In fact, let me see if I can draw something on this slide here to give you an example of what we're talking about. And hopefully y'all be able to see this, but let's say, you got a river flowing down right here. Can everybody see this?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Y'all say you got a river. In fact, you got the water flowing down the stream like this. Well, let's say you got one property owner that owns a lot here and another somebody owns a lot there. Well, when this water is flowing down the river and it hits up against this shore or bank here, what do you think it's going to do there?
Erode it.
Erode, or is it at least going to start pulling the soil and silt and stuff away from the shore? So it's going to start pulling away from here. Well, obviously, if it pulls soil and stuff away from the shore here, it has to be deposited somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to go somewhere. Well, let's say it got deposited right here, right on his shore. Well, did this person just gain some land?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, albeit a very gradual, imperceptible increase because this soil is being deposited onto his property. That's a form of accretion we call alluvion. When you're gaining land due to the deposits of soil and silt due to the action of water. Now, look, again, I want to stress, this is a gradual or imperceptible increase. It's not like you're going to go out in your backyard every morning and say, hey, look, sweetie, at all this land we gained last night. You ain't even going to notice it. It's a very imperceptible increase, but it's still an increase. That's alluvion. The next form is called reliction. Now, reliction is when you're gaining land due to the recession of water. In fact, let me kind of draw that for you a little bit, hopefully if I can. Again, say I got the river flowing down here. Well, if I own riparian water rights, where does my property line go in relation to the water?
To the center.
The center.
To the center, right? I own all the way to the center of this river. Well, suppose the water starts to dry up or recede. The water starts moving this way. Well, my property line is all the way out here. Well, as that water recedes, am I gaining more land?
Yes. Well,
Yes.
Yes,
usable land.
I am. Because see, what'll happen a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, every time, your river does not stay in the same spot.
Mm-hmm.
It'll move. You'll find maybe over on this side of the river, people are going to be losing land because the river is actually starts moving out this way, right? Through erosion and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But all that soil and stuff was deposited over here. So I'm gaining land, but as the water recedes from this shore and starts moving this way, I'm gaining land, right? Y'all, that's reliction. Y'all, again, so reliction is when you're gaining land due to the recession of the water. Any questions there? We're good?
Good to go.
All right. Yeah, then you see a term called accession, and y'all wouldn't be too overly concerned about this term, but y'all accession, it just says this is where land builds up along the riverbank due to natural deposits, where basically land changes in size over time due to the water. Y'all, it's just another term. I wouldn't be too concerned about that one, but I will tell you, you need to know what accretion is. And you need to know the two types of that we just talked about, alluvion and reliction. You need to be familiar with those in particular. Okay. Now, there are a couple of ways that you can actually lose land due to the action of water, and we kind of touched on this on one of them earlier. One is erosion, right? Could you have property? Could the water start eroding and take away property, land from you? Yeah, that's the gradual loss in land due to the action of water. Yeah, it's erosion. But then this other one is called avulsion. Now, avulsion is the sudden tearing or stripping away of large chunks of land due to the action of water. So again, don't get these confused. Erosion is a gradual loss of land over time. Avulsion is a sudden tearing or stripping of large chunks of land all at one time. Y'all, you can see this happen. If you have a tidal wave, y'all come in off the ocean, like a tsunami, it crashes in on the shore and it tears out large chunks of land. Or if you got a mudslide, y'all, especially on a mountainside, maybe. And a mudslide starts coming down that mountain. Y'all, I don't know if any of you have ever seen a mudslide, but boy, those are incredible because it will take out everything in its path. I mean, it is insane to watch that. But that's avulsion. Any questions there? Yeah. Do what? We okay? I thought I heard somebody having a fit. An issue I have seen students have in the past, I want to make sure none of you do. Y'all, for some reason, especially on the test, the term avulsion and alluvion apparently look very similar.
Yeah, at glance it does. Yeah.
But y'all, I'm telling you, they obviously mean two very different things.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, the way I kind of kept it straight in my mind, y'all, alluvion, y'all, that just sounds nice. That sounds good, alluvion. So that must be a good thing. And it is, because I'm gaining land due to the water. Avulsion don't sound good to me at all. There's something bad going on if you're having an avulsion. That's how I think about stuff in my mind. If it didn't help, I don't charge any extra for that, so no worries. As long as you can remember whatever it is. Okay, any questions there? Everybody's happy. All right, well, then the next thing we got to take a look at are these air rights. Y'all, again, if you own property, do you own the air above your property?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. What good is it? Y'all, what can you do with the air? What value is there to own that airspace? What are you going to do with it?
Ability to build high. You could, depending on the restrictions, you can,
Okay.
you got the ability to go high as you want to.
Yeah, very good. Y'all, what we're starting to see a lot nowadays, y'all, just an example, you know, in Myrtle Beach, y'all, they had been building condos right on the beach, right around Myrtle Beach, here for the last few years, like crazy. I don't know if y'all been down there or noticed that or realized it, but y'all, they've been building these condos like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what these developers are doing, y'all, before they even buy the land to build the condos, they will talk to property owners that are adjacent to the property they're looking at buying and offer to purchase the air rights. Okay.
Oh,
Not the land around, y'all, we're talking about they want to buy the air rights from the owners around the property they're getting ready to buy. Now, obviously, they're already going to own the air rights to the property they buy.
oh, that's smart.
But now they're just trying to buy the air rights next door.
Yeah.
And the reason they're doing this is because, y'all, where the value of these condos come from is the view
That's
of
right.
the beach, of the Grand
Wow,
Strand.
that's smart.
And so when they buy that airspace of the properties adjacent to them, now they don't own the land.
Yeah, they build out.
That means now nobody can ever build anything on that lot next door any taller than what's currently already there.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're building into their airspace, and that's a no-no. So that's how they protect property back. Because y'all, if they go build these condos, and then somebody comes in right beside them and builds another one just as taller than theirs, and obstructs the view, their value is going to take a nosedive.
Yeah.
So, y'all, that's one way or reason. Y'all, air rights are a huge deal. That's a big deal right there. Everybody good there?